want to start with this new report. It just came out in the last hour from the Washington Post that President Biden is set to announce support for major Supreme Court changes. And I'm just going to say it struck me because last night one of the things that struck me about his interview with Lester Holt is that he went after Clarence Thomas, something Democrats have been doing, a lot of people have been doing, he has held back from doing. This is him endorsing things like an ethics code and term limits for justices. And it is something politically, I think a lot of Democrats care about, the base cares about. But what do you think?
Well, I mean, the court is a great issue for us. We've not lost an election since Dobbs in August of 2022. So I think it's good to put the court front and center. I mean, but the president's come out with packing the court and rent controls and a lot of things all at the same time. And I don't know if people are going to view this seriously. I think that, well, he's behind the polls, so he's come up with a lot of stuff. I don't know, but I do know that the court has been an awesome, tremendous issue for Democrats here in the last couple of years.
So, James, I don't know. I haven't heard you talk about everything over the last couple of days. I know you've been away for a couple of days. So has anything changed in terms of the Democrats you're talking to, your view on the future of this race? I mean, it feels a little bit like it's been suspended in air, in my view, the nomination. What is your take on it?
Yeah, there's great concern. I think it's going to manifest itself over the weekend. I mean, you've got people speaking out. I mean, now you had Adam Schiff. I mean, you've had a lot of people, and there's a lot of concern. And I don't know. The Democrats were having the worst summer any political party had since the Republicans back in the Nixon administration. So the people are worried. I'll be honest with you. There's deep and profound concern among Democrats in the Congress and everywhere else around the country. Everybody I see is asking me, are we going to be okay? This is just where we are right now, Jen. We can't, it's just it.
James, Ari Melber here. Always good to see you. How you doing?
I'm in Alaska on a cruise ship, so I'm a little cold, but better off than being under the weather.
We're touched you would join us from a cruise. So, you know, I had a question planned that we're going to get to, but you just said something pretty striking. You said that while there is an understandable pause or diversion away from what had been a heated conversation about the Democratic nominee, and I say the Democratic nominee because President Biden has the delegate votes. I've discussed that before. But it seems that you're saying that conversation might still yet reemerge before the DNC?
Oh, it's hidden, but yes, it's going to emerge again. I mean, people have already gone out there, and then you had Congressman Schiff today, who's our Senate candidate in California, and expressing the level of concern in the party, I have to tell you, is quite profound and it's quite deep. And, you know, we just went what we call a Mel of a Hess right now, and that's the best spin I can put on it.
All right, interesting. Because the conventional wisdom, such as it was, stated that it was a rough 2 weeks for President Biden. People discussed the debate, but he had stopped the bleeding of major public call-outs. He has, on paper, Obama and others having said, hey, keep going. And he has the delegate votes. Only he's the one who can change that. So just hearing your sort of... Go ahead.
Yeah, that's correct. But, I mean, again, I'm looking at what people are publicly saying. And, you know, and I also know what people are privately saying. And I think that, you know, once the Republican convention is behind us and this horrific shooting is a little further in the distance, I think people are going to express their concerns about this, and I'm very concerned about the convention and the kind of lack of enthusiasm. Not to mention, the fundraising is really, really, I don't say it's dried up, but it's highly reduced everywhere.
Wow, really
and that's not going away. That's just not, you just can't wish that kind of stuff away. I mean, I hate to be the bearer of not great news, but it's every conversation that I have with political people or average people or anybody else. There's just great concern about where the Democratic position here is in July of election year.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, look, James, you don't have to apologize here. Healthy people prefer bad news over lies. Whether it's from a friend or a newsman or a newswoman or a doctor. So that we got you on that. because you've been busy on the cruise, we put something together for you, James. And that's some of what you might have missed if you didn't watch every single hour of yesterday's convention, because Jen raised this point, and Jen and I are anchoring here for the next 2 hours with folks. Jen made the point that we heard claims of unity, vows and plans of unity. Donald Trump has said his speech has been rewritten for unity, and we'll hear it. But also some of what the top Republicans were saying yesterday was not always a unified vis-a-vis independents, Democrats, and the rest of the country. Take a listen.
Today's Democrat agenda, their policies, are a clear and present danger to America.
They say they're pro-choice, but not if you want a choice over what your kids are taught.
The Democrats' economy is of, by, and for illegal aliens.
If you were looking for racism today, you'd find it in cities run by Democrats.
President Donald J. Trump, the brave heart of our time.
James, what do you see there?
Well, I think Senator Johnson's, the teleprompter guy, made the mistake. It's actually what he said. All right, this is a part that talks about taking responsibility, and he said, well, I didn't mean to say that. They just put the wrong thing on the teleprompter. I don't know how to tell these people, but I say it loudly and clearly. Crime is down since Joe Biden has been president, and not down by a little bit, down by a lot more than a little bit. So, I mean, if we just stand back and let them have this ridiculous narrative of bad teleprompters or crime statistics that don't match anything what people are going through, then we're not going to do that well. But if we can get beyond the self-inflicted damage that we have and start putting this front and center, I think J.D. Vance is the most adaptable politician of my lifetime. I mean, look, you know, y'all done a good job of saying what he said before and what he's saying now. And as Jen pointed out, with the courts and the women's rights issues and these things, the gun issue, oh, my God. Why do you think that President Trump was shot? Because some loner that had access to a weapon. That wasn't anything to do with political rhetoric. So we have some stress, but we've got to dig ourselves out of this hole and start making a case. But right now, it's been a pretty dismal 3 weeks.
President Biden just did a speech where he talked about some of the things you've been mentioning, gun violence and other issues. I wanted to ask you about J.D. Vance, because historically, as you well know, as we all know, you've covered many of these, the vice presidential running mate doesn't massively change the course of a presidential election, but there's a lot to work with J.D. Vance. I mean, he has supported an abortion ban. He has essentially been a big proponent of everything in the Project 2025 plan. There's a long list here. What do you think the Democrats should be doing? I mean, how much should they be going after him? Should they be primarily focusing on Trump? What should they be doing in the next week or so?
Okay, so I just want to make an overall point. This is not necessarily a bad year for Democrats or incumbents. Every Democratic Senate incumbent is still leading. Mm-hmm. And they have to make the Republican candidates answer for J.D. Vance. They have to make them answer. I mean, we got to give some help here to the national ticket, and that's going to come from our Senate candidates in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Montana, or Nevada, Arizona. I mean, there's fruitful lines of attack that exist here. And you're correct. The whole Supreme Court thing has been magical for us. We can't get off of that. But we have to make these Republican candidates answer for J.D. Vance and, who knows, Donald Trump. No one knows what his position on abortion is. I mean, it's impossible. But we got to push that. We got some advantages. I don't want to be overly pessimistic here, but we have to exploit the advantages that have been given to us. And
he was pretty pessimistic.
Right now, we're just unable to do that.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.